Welcome to Biggest Geek Ass. We are your hosts. I'm Randy.
And I'm Joe.
This is episode 149 of the show. The date is July 25th, 2023. What's the word, Hummingbird?
The word is I'm warm.
You're warm?
Yeah, no AC in this room. I have a fan on, you can see in the background there, but no AC.
I got an air conditioning unit I got an AC unit about 10 feet from me, scratch it, about 6 feet from me. So I'm fairly cozy. I am at a secret location, never to be divulged. No, I'm just kidding. I'm in southern Indiana, near our old home, stomping grounds. A buddy of mine let me podcast from his house, so it's pretty sweet. It's good to see all the dudes in the place. Martinson, Halcyon H. Well, that's all I see. Guess we're running a little light today, but that's all right. We'll bring them in with the sweet.
Flady.
Hey, Flady One's in the house. He's over there on Rumble. He's rumbling.
Yep.
So
looks like we have, how many do we have over here on Rumble at the moment? We have one person in the chat. Well, two, counting Randy, but we're not counting
me. I don't count, yeah. David Gwill. Sweet. Majors Musing, how you doing, sir? Iron Man. The man, the myth, the legend.
So people are rolling in.
Yeah. It's summertime, man. People got stuff to do.
It is summertime.
It's nice,
but it's evening time as well.
Right. Flady's hanging around in Rumble and in YouTube because he's cool like that. So, Flady, Green Apple, welcome. So I was listening to the podcast, and Flady always keeping us on our toes. So we're at what, 20 guys now for the
looks like we made our 20. Yep.
Oh, David Gwill's calling me out. I know. I'm on vacay. Sorry, David. Says waiting on the final editing. So, but I got to get that crap done. So it has to happen. I've been running through the PDF and marking it on my iPad. I got to get it translated to him and send it back so we can get that thing done. I'm not going to make Gen Con because I'm a dork. So.
Well, hopefully you make our con.
I'm going to get it printed like AS. It's going to be printed probably in a week or two. As soon as David says your crap is ready, I'm going to do it. Mr. Blavan's in the house. Ryan David, all the groovy people. I meant to listen to Ryan's podcast today. It dropped on my iTunes, but I didn't get a chance. Dartheic says he might have a buddy, coming to Big Geek Con.
That sounds cool.
That is very cool. Can't wait to meet Darth and Flady and all these groovy people in person. So, Halcyon H is throwing Mr. Blavan a little good job on his show, which everybody should watch it. Tonka Todd, he's got the outline of the show. He says, I wish all the great geeks will be able to come to the con. That's true. Ryan likes your t-shirt. Yep. Look at this. I got the old one.
We match.
Our mine's a little older. My washer must do something. Joe's always stays pristine. Almost missed
Washed it in cold. I wash it in cold and hang it up. No dryer.
I am drinking the nectar of the gods. I have broke my fast with soda, but it's because it's for Big Red, Joe. So it's only appropriate, you know.
It's only appropriate. Can't get Big Red up here.
No, Big Red is awesome. And Faygo Red Pop does not cut the mustard. Halcyon's asking about the count. We're at 20, son.
We are at 20.
It's happening. Count on it. We play some D&D. Oh, yeah.
All we got to do now is do the giveaways, because some of the 20 are giveaways.
Well, dude, they've been paid for. Whatever the case, me and some other people. So it's all right. The money's there. I hope people want it. I hope they want to come. So that'd be very cool. I have a person I would secretly like to win because it would help them out, but I am not cheating. So Cherokee Red, what's he talking about? Is that a drink of some sort, Ryan David? It's not Big Red. So But
well, we can figure out if somebody wins it, but they're not able to make it. We'll figure out some way for them to gift it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
To
I would
someone
love
who can make it, but maybe doesn't have the money
Oh,
to come.
Cherokee Red is a red soda. Yes, so is Big Red. Bottles in San Antonio, Texas is a big bottler, and I think Bowling Green, Kentucky, are the two big bottlers of Big Red. So it truly is the drink of champions. So it's awesome. So how was your week? Did you get to game at all this week?
Did not get to game at all this week. Had a rough week. My serpentine belt went kaflooey in my car.
Serpentine, huh?
Yep. And now my car is laid up. I'm biking to work until I can get it fixed.
Oh, I thought you'd said you'd fixed your serpentine belt. It didn't. It broke.
I did.
Again?
I put a new serpentine belt in, but now it's whatever caused it to break. Nearly did it again because so this car has two belts, and this serpentine belt goes from the crankshaft, the AC compressor, and the alternator. And it looks like the AC compressor is seized. So the crankshaft is trying to get it to go, but the AC compressor says, I ain't going nowhere. And so the car won't turn over.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's grounded until I can get the AC compressor repaired, which you can't. It seems like it's hard to find someone to just switch it out for you. That pesky Freon people don't want to mess with anymore because there's some penalty. So I have to take it to a shop, looks like.
Pay $1 million to break it.
It can be as much as $1,200.
Yes, because they got to pull crap out sometimes in those cars.
I mean, it might be as cheap as $5, neither of which is an expense that we had planned for, so we have to figure it out.
No. Hello, GM Johnny. I don't recognize the name, but you are welcome, sir. I'm glad you're here. I got the game twice already this week.
Shut up. I'm kicking you out of here. Kicking you out.
Goodbye. Rockin' Rye Fago is a close second to Big Red. Martinson is not wrong. In Michigan, that's a pretty decent soda. But I played 13th Age.
If Fago is even worth talking about.
Generally speaking, Fago's poop.
Yeah.
But Rockin' Rye is pretty excellent. He talked me into it, and I tried it. It's really a knockoff Big Red, but you know what? I'm not going to represent, baby. Fago's got the skills. So, but, okay, I don't know what this is, but I think it means something. Halcyon H says, Fago, IYKTYK. I'm sure that means something. In your crumpy, I don't know, taco, you.
I don't know. I've not seen that acronym.
So I took the youngins, my cousins' kids, who are now 16 to 23, sat down and we played a 13th Age game. I didn't get a run at Cabin Con, first level.
You know, then you know.
Dude. Oh, if you know, then you know. Okay. But anyway, we played it at I didn't get to play at Cabin Con, and I ran it at the Reunion, actually, the Reunion House.
Ah.
And I had almost a TPK in the first encounter. They had 6 characters, and I nearly killed every one of them.
13th Age?
Yes.
Almost a TPK?
Yeah. So that first encounter was really way too tough. I ran them through. I was running them through a module, and I thought, you know what? I will design. I added a little encounter in, and it was a little heavy. I was a little too generous to the monsters. So.
But how many players? 6, you said?
6, dude.
What level?
It was first level adventure.
Okay, so what kind of monster were they fighting?
30 mook zombies with 10 hit points each. That ended up being quite a bit. And then they
30.
had 2.
30?
Mm-hmm. They had 3 hiding within the mook zombies were for each mook group, 3 sets of 10. I had a rune carved Lich King rune carved goblin first level troop, and he ended up just being. It was just stupidly deadly. They just couldn't
30.
get 30. Yeah.
That's what I'm stuck on. 30.
They beat it, but we fought for like almost 2 hours. It was crazy.
Sure,
it was insane.
30 of them.
Yeah. But it was quite a good time. And then last night, my buddy Tony, where I'm staying, we played Talisman, Joe.
Oh.
Just the two of us, and we played it in an hour and 45 minutes. He got the monk and pretty much cleaned my clock. So
a monk is good for Talisman. They can use, if I'm remembering correctly, monk has kind of an exploit where can't they use both strength and craft or something like that?
Correct. And they can't take advantage of any weapons. Ryan Davidson, those mooks needed to have 4 hit points. Yeah, I think Randy lost his mind a little bit. Hadn't been DMing 6th, 7th, 8th level, 13th age characters for so long. I just wasn't thinking. That was a bad move on my part. But they did do it. But it was they burned through almost all their resources.
Well, sure. Because
all their dailies were gone.
Characters, how many hit points do they have? Like 10, 15?
No, 25, 30.
Well, still 30 combatants?
Plus 3 that were not mooks.
Yeah. So
I could have made that fight at 10 hit points. I could have done one set of 10 zombie mooks and one of those goblins, and it would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But I did. But you would like that. I gave them all a magic item to start the game with.
Oh, okay.
A champion tier magic item, which they shouldn't be able to handle. But I don't worry about that. So it was.
Well,
fun.
You can. You just have the side effects.
Correct. And I just wasn't feeling that. So they were all newbies to the game. No one had played it. My cousin Tyler had bought the book and done some reading, so he knew what he was doing. He's a quick study. I mean, that he could build some broken crap in 3rd edition. So anyway, what's up, Hungar? Homie. Yes, correct.
As long as everyone had a good time, who cares? Really. I mean, even though it took 2 hours, you had too many people you had too many combatants on the board.
Yes.
But if they had a good time, they had a good time.
They had a good time, and they were like, Jonathan, my youngest one, he was like, I don't think I want to play anymore. If that's the first fight, we got a whole story. And then, our buddy JD, Jeremy, his son Avery was the oldest one. Was like, I want to know how this ends, because I set up the story element. And so we got to play a little bit. We didn't quite get as far as we would think. Tonka Todd says, whoa, who are you and what have you done with the real Randy? Oh, magic items? Well, I was planning on killing him, see? That was the plan.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, Joe, here's the staff of the Magi.
When he says magic items, they were probably all potions.
But they were champion tier potions. No, they were swords and shields and armor. It was pretty sweet. I loaded them up. As Ryan David said, pretty much Monty Hall. So... yes, DM Black Walt was not a goblin champion. It was a little undead goblin guy that had 60 hit points each. Those goblin troops. It said level 1.
Okay, so did you make that encounter?
Yes.
Or that's the
That was me.
Yeah. What do you mean it said level 1?
I gave them a full heal up after that encounter. And then the very next fight,
a full, you know how much a full heal up is good to someone who's dead? I think nothing. Yeah.
A whole lot of nothing. Yeah,
so,
but
yeah.
Yes. So then they go into the ruined temple. In the first fight, they're fighting these zombie bugbears, and they're like 6 of them. That's nothing. Well, they weren't mooks. They went down fast because there were these animated spirits of Templar warriors that were actually good. But this Lich King's shaman had brought a magic item into the temple that had warped the magic of the temple, so that all these spirit Templars killed everyone. Didn't matter if you were good or evil or not. And so once the zombie went down, out of the mouth came the goody Templars, and they were all spirit creatures. It was fun.
Two stage bad guys.
Yeah, and let's see. Mage's Musing, full heal up. That sounds suspiciously like a long rest. That is correct.
Similar mechanics.
Fully indie cheese ball maneuver. So Lady says, glad Randy isn't in charge of collecting taxes. We'd be boned. Yes, you would. You'd be screwed beyond belief.
How much you owe in taxes? 50%. Well, that's what it is already. So 75. We'll make it 75. Yeah. Just to be on the safe side.
It's a new regime in charge. But they had fun, and I had to do a lot of teaching of the game, but they enjoyed themselves, and it was pretty late. We knew we had to get up early and leave the next day, so we called it a night. But it was fun. We had a good time. Reunion was fun. Visiting folks. I got more things to do. I won't be back in Michigan till Monday. So anyway, okay. Yeah. So besides the week basically the car?
Yeah.
Subsumed by the car issues?
Yeah. We're okay.
Okay.
We're just gonna we have a good bunch of friends and actually 3 bicycles, so we can get wherever we need to go pretty much without a big deal. No big deal. It's annoying, I would say. Not the disaster I thought, because in the moment I'm like, it's a disaster. We don't have a car. We're done. Can't go anywhere. But it's really just annoying. It's only an annoyance.
Yeah. Well, if I was home, I would say you could borrow one of my cars, but can't wait.
Well, you're not home, so
that don't work, son.
Enjoy
that bike. So you'll be like me going on big bike ride. Well, you walk. You're pretty good. You should be fine.
Yeah, I could. Walking is a problem, not because I can't do it, but because of how long it takes. I mean, work isn't that far.
Mm-hmm.
Walking is kind of a pain in the butt. Bike ride is less than 10 minutes, so it's great.
But Boivin has faith in you. He says you can walk anywhere.
I can.
Anywhere.
Biking is better.
Yes. And driving is better than biking, right?
Okay. This is more expensive than having a car over time. Uber and Lyft, I don't think so. I it might work out for like a grocery trip, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm looking like practically invisible in this room, but
it's very dark.
There's some. Let me see if I can turn that on. You talk to the folks for a second. I'm going to see if I can't.
So biking is good. Walking to work and back on top of walking all day is no fun, but can do it. Would rather not. Mr. Max asks, is your mail run one on foot? Yes, I walk my route. There's a couple of places where I just drive up to the mailbox and put it in, but there's only a couple of those. There are apartment buildings where I don't have to go to each apartment individually. There's a big box thing that I put mail in, but yeah, it's all walking, or practically all walking, but I'm used to that. Right. So I'm really, Martinson says, you can give me a call for a ride. And I appreciate that, but you're not in Bay City, so I would never want to do that unless it was an emergency or Jenny needed to get to an appointment or something. Ride sharing. Right. I really don't want to bug anybody on a daily basis to get me in back and forth to work. That's why I'm biking. And it's good for me too. I know I walk all over the place, but I also eat too much. So I'm still a little overweight. So the extra biking will help out a lot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with exercise, it's all about the food intake. I love exercise. I mean, with weight loss, I love exercising, but I also love eating.
So Mr. Max says, he has a correction. Mr. Max says motorcycle. My wife says no.
No motorcycle for Joe?
I've wanted a motorcycle since I was a wee lad, but
get it.
Yeah. No, I like a happy home. The happier the home, the better.
Like a happy home more than you like a motorcycle?
Getting a motorcycle will make my wife too nervous, so that's fine.
Yeah, Joe would have. Joe, you've had a Jeep before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a Jeep. We had a 90s Jeep Cherokee.
Oh.
Well, no, it wasn't a Cherokee. It was some other version. But yeah, it was too old.
Oh, Matt Barninger, happy wife, happy life. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Fight the power.
Yeah. Well, marriage, not even once. Well, I like being married. So.
I absolutely love my wife and happy with marriage, but I don't believe in happy wife, happy life. I believe you both have to give and take. I do not believe happiness is, first of all, the most important thing you need anyway.
Yeah, but conflict isn't any good either.
Conflict is no fun, but sometimes some things are worth conflicting over.
Yeah, motorcycle isn't one of them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That doesn't really.
And I can live without a motorcycle.
I don't know. Well, our man up here said you could do the electric bike, and I like what Ryan David said. Joe's wife says motorcycle.
Motorcycle, yeah. Well, yeah, actually, Max typoed motorcycle with an N.
He did.
And it was motorcycle, so he got it right.
He did.
He got it right.
Yeah. Well, we should all really be like Hungar. He's clearly a red pill guy. He says, I told my sugar mama I want to do what I want to do. And if she don't like it, she can just deal with it because he's the boss.
Yeah. Some things, yes. Motorcycle, not so much.
Right on, Matt. He says he just doesn't want to hear the complaining. Understood.
Yep.
Sometimes you do. Yeah. I mean, it's cool. If it's not a huge deal, you don't want to introduce stress.
My life is fine. I don't need a motorcycle. It would be nice, but it would be one more thing, one more expense. It's not a big deal. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Patty's in the house. Yo. Patty's Parlor. Very cool. All right. Shall we jump into the wish fulfillment?
Let's dive in. Wish away.
Yeah.
Be glad that we're not doing first edition wishes.
Well, that's kind of what I want to do quicker than we do with the monsters. I want to kind of run through this article. Maybe I should share it. What do you think? Present it.
Sure.
That's more fun.
Present article.
Present Fest Deep Dive Wishes. All right. It's an article on the Dumpstat website. Deep dive the wish spell, and they go through some stuff, and they start with OD&D. Now, OD&D did not originally have a wish spell in the game, but it did have. I probably should make that bigger. It did. It's more for us to reference. I don't know if we even need to have this. So they're not very exciting stuff, but it says there was no wish spell in the game. I knew that. I had checked that out. And it may have came up in the Greyhawk supplement in 76. However, they did have the 3 wish ring or the ring of wishes. What's up, T-shirt? Good to see you, bro. All right. So, and there was discussion of what wishes do, and not a whole lot, though. And this guy even goes into the effect of how wishes were mainly meant for the DM to screw you if you asked for anything like halfway decent, I guess. But if you look here at Limited Wish, 7th level spell, I guess this came in 76. A spell with, this is a full description, I guess. A spell which alters reality, past, present, or future, but only within limited bounds. It cannot create or bring any form of treasure, for example, and only a portion of a wish might actually occur. And they go on to describe it more around the Ring of Wishes. The 9th level magic user spell Wish, same as the one found for the Ring of Wishes. Using a wish spell, however, requires so great conjuration that the user will be unable to do anything further magically for 2 to 8 days. What do you think of that?
That's actually not a bad limitation.
I don't think so at all. It's kind of good.
Right.
Then you get
limitations like that that are in the old game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Which would balance the effect of it. So you wouldn't be casting multiple wishes in a day as a high level caster.
Yeah.
All that.
I don't think you should be able to cast a wish more than once in a day, period. I mean, that should be it. One wish, done. But we'll talk more about what I think about wishes later on. Then they refer you to the Ring of 3 Wishes, and the wishes granted by the ring must be of limited power to maintain game balance. This requires the utmost discretion on the part of the referee, which I don't fully disagree, but I know that I really, you know how difficult I was to get wishes off in my game. Greedy characters will request more
Uh-oh. Randy
wishes,
locked
for
up.
example. What? I'm locking? My mouth is still moving.
Yes, on your side of the world, your mouth was moving.
But
in the little box in front of me, it stopped moving. Anyway, just repeat. Just repeat.
Okay. But I just thought it was interesting. So basically, if you're too greedy, they make a suggestion like if you wish for more wishes, the ref should put that character into an endless closed time loop, moving him back to the time he first obtained the wish ring. That seems kind of crappy.
What is too greedy?
Well, I mean, that's all up to the DM. So for me, if you were to wish for 20 gold pieces at 8th level, that's too greedy.
You would immediately, instead of transport the gold to the character, you would transport the character to the gold, and that would happen to be in the king's treasury, which would mean automatic death for 20 gold pieces.
Correct.
9th level spell. But that's
we're making comments. I'm going to star a few. Some good comments here. I want to talk about what we would do soon. Then they talk. This is a good one. This is just more of the explanation, telling you how to screw your players. Again, a wish for some powerful item could be fulfilled without benefit to the one wishing. I wish for a mirror of life trapping, and the referee then places the character inside one which is all his own. That feels like dirty pool.
Yeah, so if you're going to have the spell in the as a thing that the character can do, but then do this with the spell, you might as well just not have it in there at all.
Kinda, because your wishes. Now I don't know. It says lots of info here, but a lot was unsaid. But being able to change the timeline. Here's a few examples that we can think of that limited wish. That's them. That's not 5e. I'm skipping their comments.
Okay, so they're what they're saying is there's a lot of stuff that is not detailed, right? In that stuff that you're skipping.
I want to talk about the additions first. They do say Gary Gygax added his usual FU to the OD&D rules, basically to screw over the DM. Sure. Let me go further. Basic D&D, which I didn't see much on this. They refer to the 3 wishes. They aged the caster 3 years. They talk about being able to cast any wizard spell below 9th or cleric spell below 7th. It does say this. It can be used to raise a character's ability score, though never above 18. But they don't go on to explain how that's done in basic D&D. So maybe in basic D&D, you could go from a 7 intelligence to an 18. Or if you're a wizard, maybe you go from a 12 intelligence to an 18. I think, again, I'm starring your comments, guys. I promise we'll get to them because you got some good ones. So that was basic. And they talk more about purposely twisting it if they try to go beyond the power of 8th level or 6th level clerical spells. Mold Bay D&D expert said had no wish spell, though there were 2 spells. There were 2 items that granted wishes. That was funny. They had a +1 sword of wishes and a ring of wishes. So that was kind of weird. They talked about wishes under the dungeon mastering as a fine art. So I guess it was more from mythology, the genre, the idea of wishes. So, yeah.
Well, I know they say here that it's the Moldvay Cook expert set.
Yeah.
The Rule Cyclopedia does have it. However, your character has to have an 18 intelligence, and they can't cast it until they're level 36. So that's at that end of the game. So that's not even expert. That's level 36 comes in the master set. So that's why it's not in that particular.
Yeah, fair enough. That's what they're. Well, this is Moldvay, so this is pre-Mensa.
Right.
And so, but there was apparently discussions of it. If you look in our chat, Joe, somebody is talking about a link. Might be a weird bot sort of stuff. Someone above me is demanding us. Is that a person we know? Kif out P
No,
at the T.
no,
No, that looks
no.
That
Let
looks
me
weird.
go over to. Let's see.
Is it a Rumble thing?
Yeah, let me go over.
No.
Huh? No,
I'm
it's
talking
YouTube.
myself. Okay. So let me see here. So anyway, as we move along, first edition 78. Now they get classifying the spells, duration, saving throw, all special. It's a more potent version of Limited Wish. Talks about what it could do. It could alter reality with respect to hit points. So it could bring points back to the party, bring a character back to life. But if you got disintegrated, they mentioned that you had to wish for the body back and then bring it back to life. So 2 wishes. It talked about how certain wishes would make the spellcaster, cause the spellcaster to be weak, -3 on strength, require 2 to 8 days of bed rest. And this is where things got a little funky. And I know I was just purposely trying to scoot a party. It says, regardless of what is wished for, the exact terminology of the wish spell is likely to be carried through. This discretionary power of the referee is necessary in order to maintain game balance. As wishing another character dead would be grossly unfair. For example, your DM
I think that's wrong.
Oh, you think it's not grossly unfair?
Wishing another character to be dead. What are you doing? We're talking. You're scrolling past what we're talking about.
Oh, well, I was moving on. Oh, I didn't know you were reading it from there. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Discretionary. Okay. Wishing another character dead would be grossly unfair. Wrong.
How come?
If it doesn't come with a saving throw, maybe. But there's death spell. There's disintegrate. There's all kinds of things that remove a particular character from the game. What's the difference?
As long as you get a saving throw, yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's the same. But even if you don't, I mean, there were spells like, I guess in 1A D&D, there were a few spells that were non-savable. Power word kill, but you had to have so many hit points.
Right. So
yeah,
as long as there was, I think that is a weird. That's a weird thing to say. It breaks the game balance for a 9th level spell to be able to murder a character. That's kind of stupid. Now,
it would be neat if you wanted to add in your world a cosmic consequence. No, I guess it's a spell. It's a spell. It's a spell. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of good comments. I just don't want to jump on them yet because we're going to talk about our opinions on wishes. And then let's see. Fairly quick to the point. He said it is the article writer says it's interesting. This is the article writer that makes no mention of copying the effects of other spells without the immense sadness visited upon the body of the spellcaster. But it does give several things a wizard could wish for without disabilities: healing, resurrection, teleportation.
Right. I think
chewing is about the same though.
Yeah, I think primarily calling it wish was a bad idea. If you called it alter reality or something similar to that, and then gave specific things it could do, and maybe a little wiggle room that you could play with, and then have some bad effects if you go too crazy, then fine. But calling it wish was a bad idea.
I don't disagree. And I also think there was, hey, Shadows in the house, Cal's in the house. I do think that Mage's Musing, Artie, he beat me to it. It is an illusionist spell, correct?
Yes.
So that's probably a better wording for the spell itself. I don't disagree with that. I think that's probably fair. It seems that as long as you're basically teleporting people, bringing creatures back to life, and healing damage, there was no consequences. If you get outside of that, you could lose a lot on your strength and have to rest. In 2nd edition, here's interesting. I don't know if you can see this highlight. Casting a wish spell ages the caster 5 years. So humans are going to be less inclined to do a lot of that. Of course, at that level, they probably can get there. They can live pretty much forever. The 5-year change was about it. Now 3E got a lot more complex. Third edition and 3.5.
That's where they had all the specific things you could do, and there would be absolutely no negative effects, and then a list of things.
Yeah, and you know that was the first time. That was the first time, Joe, that I had ever thought about really. This is going to sound weird. In my mind, in the earlier editions of the game, you could do anything with a wish spell. Now, if you didn't word it correctly, I was going to try to hose you, right?
Yeah.
I was purposely really trying to hose you, but I'd let you get away with about anything.
I always hated that part. Because
I don't disagree.
How many times did we just spend so much time trying to word it correctly, and you still screw us over? So,
not to find a loophole in something.
It's a weird way to put the DM and the players at odds, and then cause a disruption in the whole flow of the game.
Let's be honest. At 14 to 16, I was kind of a dick when I was DMing. So,
but if you still had that version of Wish right now,
yeah, mm-hmm.
we would still be worried about wording it correctly.
Well, I would have to let someone do it, and you'd have to see me because Joe's got PTSD from my wording of wishes. So, but once you saw, okay, Randy's not being that dude anymore, because I don't want to screw you. I would just look out for things that are honestly, I'd almost let you get away with it. Well, we'll talk about that. I have some opinions on Wish. Third edition. So now it's Wizard and Sorcerer. I don't want to go through all this, but you could duplicate lots of spells that were below 9th level, undo harmful effects, create a non-magical item of up to 25,000 GP in value, create magic items, grant a +1 inherent bonus to an ability. You could do that up to 5 times. So 5 wishes could give you +5 to a stat, right? That was max.
I never liked that. I always thought that was silly.
Having to burn so many wishes.
Yeah, 1 for 1, and 2 more for the 2, and then 3 more for 3. It's silly.
I thought this was weird. A wish can never restore the experience point loss from casting a spell, or the level or constitution loss from being raised from the dead. Why not?
Because they don't want it to.
Yeah. Talks about teleporting people around, undoing misfortunes. Greater effects is more dangerous. Here's a big one. 10,000. Was that in 2nd edition? 10,000 gold piece value of material components to cast Wish. And then it would burn 5,000 experience points for casting it, at least in 3E.
Well, that's tough. The way this is worded is if the spell you're trying to duplicate has a material component that's more than 10,000, then you must provide. The Wish spell provides that up to 10,000 gold piece in material components.
It says the minimum XP cost for casting Wish is 5,000, though.
Yeah, the 3rd edition was the XP to cast spells and do all kinds of stuff, which kind of made you...
On the surface, I liked it, but it was just too devastating. Yes, probably something like game balance. Yeah, that's true. Major's musing. He does wonder how prevalent were wishes in Gary's game. I bet they were not all that common.
Yeah, we've got some stuff over here on. Oh no, that's not Rumble. Yeah, Rumble. Yeah. I was going to say that T-shirted one snagged that one.
Yeah.
That's always a good way to balance. That is the balance, really. Right. So
what is that?
Yeah. What T-shirt had said. That's really where if you're going to have game balance, that's where it lives at. But we'll get to that when you get to the comments.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to do it yet. It's a good comment. And then finally, 4th edition. I'm not sure how much they say or how anybody really cares. 4E follows none of the rules. The wish spells have been removed from the spell list available to players and became a plot device. I agree with them. I think it's awesome. That's actually where I stand. I don't think it should be a spell, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And then 5e, finally, Mightiest Spell, duplicates 8th level or lower, can make a 25,000 gold piece item that's not magical. 300 feet in dimension is maximum. You can allow up to 20 creatures that you can see to regain all hit points. They really spell it out. You grant up to 10 creatures you can see resistance to damage, resistance to a single spell. So they're really detailing it out. It says you might be able to achieve something beyond the scope of the above examples. State your wish to the GM as precisely as possible. The GM has great latitude in ruling. Do they really talk about destroying? Wishing that a villain were dead might propel you forward. So they're still pushing that narrative that you wish somebody dead and you got to move on. If you try to go beyond, you may take some necrotic damage. So
yeah, I can Meteor Swarm as a high-level wizard. Meteor Swarm an entire like city and kill hundreds of people, depending on how big, how packed in they are. But wishing one person dead, no, oh no.
I mean, you could have just called that the death spell or the power word kill and put no hit point limit on it, make it deadly as crap.
Yeah.
And then it said, finally, there is a 33% chance that you are unable to cast Wish ever again if you suffer some sort of stress. So if you go over these suggestions and you suffer some stress damage of like D10 necrotic damage per level, you could have a 1 out of 3 chance of never being able to cast it again. So that's a quick rundown of the Wish spell.
Right, and you get that stress if you do anything other than duplicate a spell.
Mm-hmm.
So anything on the list, any other thing on that list of things that's not duplicating a spell, you have to have that chance of stressing.
Oh, really? Yep, correct. That's pretty harsh.
It is.
Well, you know what it is? It just takes out creativity from the game.
It sure does, because you cast a 9th level spell to duplicate an 8th or lower level spell. Who really, unless you need a specific spell at that time that you don't have access to, because you can, as a wizard, you can use that to cast. I can't remember the 5th edition version that we just looked at. If it's if you can cast spells from other lists, but 3rd edition you could. That's valuable. But if it's
I think you could cast spells from other lists. It talked about, let's see here, any spell, 8th level or lower, any spell, according to 5e, any spell, 8th level or lower.
Okay, that could be valuable, but being able to do that comes with a problem, and the problem is the player cracks open their player's handbook when there's an issue, and they start poring over all the spells from all the different classes to try to pick out the perfect spell that they don't have.
Almost as bad as trying to figure out how you're going to word the dang wish to get success back in the old days. Yeah.
I mean, that was something, being able to cast any spell, that was a kind of a problem in any system where you can cast any spell that's on your list. So cleric, if they could spontaneously cast any spell out of their repertoire.
Yeah. I did.
Then if you could do that, then you're often going to spend time. You're often going to spend too much time with your nose in a book.
Yes, too much freedom because you can't know them all.
Right.
And you might be like, I remember that one spell. It was really good. I don't know if it was 4th or 5th level. Flip, 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 flip. Yeah. Looks like Legion's in the house.
Yeah.
So looking at this thing and going through the spells, here's some questions and guys' thoughts on this, the different starred comments. Wishes be, do you think, Joe?
Yeah. How about you let me do that, because you still keep locking up here and there. So I will start. Is it the Darthaic?
Go ahead,
the
bud.
first one?
Do it.
Darthaic at 756. Is that the top one? Or is there something? It looks like that's the top one. Darthaic. Those limit.
David Gwill's the higher.
David Will has one that's before that.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'm trying to.
Now, I don't see one from David before that. The first one I see you have starred is Darthiac at 756. These limitations make you think about what are you doing? Hey, weirdo.
I'm going in and out.
You're going in and out. That's why I said let me do the clicking. Those limitations make you think about what you're doing before you do it. I like it. Yeah, your mileage may vary. Some people like that kind of thing. Some people don't. I like having some delineated things where it definitely can do all these things, and then it's iffy on some of these things. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
David Gwill says, I don't think mortals should be casting wishes. I think that's probably a pretty fairly big common
I agree.
Thing.
100%. It should not be a wish for a mortal. I agree. Shouldn't even be an option.
Did you have this Ryan David one starred originally?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Wish is one of the few DM versus PC situations that is good. I disagree. The DM has to balance the wish with unexpected consequences. It shouldn't be versus because of long arguments. From the old school is long arguments or long discussions at the very least. It just ruins. If you're going outside the scope, if there's the wiggle room part of the spell that you're casting in, then fine. But the versions of the spell that have specific things that it does for sure, there shouldn't be any adjudication issues. So if you're haggling over if you're haggling over the variable parts, fine, I guess. But I think it causes more problems than solves.
Shoot. Am I just going in and out? Seems like I'm going
You are going in and out.
Can you hear me? Dang it. I'm aggravated. Sorry, guys.
So the last thing I said was the whole DM versus PC thing and discussions and taking too long.
Yeah, I think there's something to it. You're not wrong that it probably causes more argument problems than it solves. But I think it's I think it adds I think Wish could add a fun element. I'm inclined not to argue with the players, but to see how much of if they wish for something crazy, I'm more inclined to let it happen, almost even if it blows up the campaign.
Then you can think about later on consequences instead of in the moment consequences, which can be more interesting.
Correct. Those consequences can be something that, here, you get what you wish. I'm not trying to screw with you. But after a while, there's consequences. And, I want a +5 Vorpal sword. I'm only 2nd level.
Well, that wouldn't be a cast wish. That would more likely be a ring, getting a wish ring, which might work just like the spell, might not. Right, so Randy's stuck again. Let's go on to Patty's Parlors. What was that? What was that you just said?
I'm going to hop out and try to come back in, Joe.
Okay. So wishes should be provided through powerful entity then? Yeah, I was in this one campaign where the DM tried to have rulings which said, well, the closest powerful entity is what decides how the wish works. And to be honest, that just seems like he's pulling some weirdness out of his butt, because how does he know what the closest powerful entity is? It's kind of an arbitrary at the moment weird decision to make. But yeah, let's say what would be better is if you find a ring, then it's probably decided at that moment, or or decided when it was created, or when the DM puts it in their campaign, or maybe randomly who bestowed wishes into that ring. And then you know how to make decisions, for that particular entity. And if you're casting it as a, just a high level wizard, then that would be, I don't know what you might want to do as a DM if you're just going to say powerful entities to bestow these or approve them or whatever. You may just decide beforehand, if a wizard casts a wish, who is the decider on your campaign world, if there is a single one or maybe multiple, how that works.
Yeah. Iron Man wishes I had better internet. Me too, dude.
Yeah.
It's annoying. I don't know what the deal is. It should be better. It's just being stupid. I don't know what the deal is. Go ahead. If you can hear me now, let's talk.
What? Yeah. You know what you could do is get off of video and just go audio only.
Sure.
That might improve connectivity.
Sure. There we go. No, see my facey face.
Right. Iron Man says we tried to not do dick moves with wish. The interpretation of the wish wording was used against the player, basically to limit the result, not ruin the character. Right. So yeah. So it's all, whenever it's some sort of off the cuff adjudication for something like that, a lot of times it just depends on how does the DM feel that day. Right. It can give you uneven results. That's why I don't even like having that as part of spell casting. Having there be some off the cuff adjudication type thing, because today you might get a particular result from a particular wording, and then next week it might be different. And it may not be out of malice or anything like that. It may just be out of the vagaries of the situation.
And do you still hear me, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. And it could just be that, people are not super consistent.
Right.
So Bruce is suggesting I reboot it, but it's not my router, and I just don't want to mess with it. So not right now.
Right now you seem to be stable, so let's just keep it like this.
Keep going, and I'll my buddy, if he gets going and he wants to do it, I'll have him do it, and I'll take a break and come back. So right now we're going to push through with no facey face.
Push it.
Push it real good.
All right. The next one is next comment up is Patty's Parlor. I think Crimson Dragon Slayer deals with it nicely. Casting wish requires a sacrificial ritual wherein the sacrifice must be equal in payment. Chalt has the Crimson Rock of Sacrifice. So, so ritual sacrifice as in people, or we maybe it's treasure. Treasure can be sacrificed as well a lot of times.
For a really dark world, yeah. But if you're going to run a D&D type world, I don't want people to have to kill people to cast wish. If you're going to use wish as a spell, which I'm against anyway. I'm not for that. I don't want wish to be a spell, period.
Right.
So, but
Halcyon H says wish spell is the manifestation of the wizard's mind into reality. I don't agree with wish for death being an option, especially when you have the option of using the wish to cast a lower spell.
If it's got a saving throw, he's got a point. Why not just cast Disintegrate? If they're going to make a save, I guess you could say, well, I want to cast a 9th level Disintegrate. But I think the wish spell, even if you cast a lower level spell, like a fireball using wish, it would be considered a 9th level spell for the DC.
In the 3rd level version, sure.
Mm-hmm. But I see what he's saying.
But I still, it doesn't, to me, if you're duplicating it, if you can duplicate a spell or equal spell effect, and that it can be death spell, you can just say it's a 9th level death spell.
Correct.
What's the difference from casting a death spell and say, I want that person dead? So when you say, I want that person dead with my wish spell, you can just, as the DM, say, okay, it generates a 9th level version of death spell. And they make their saving throw, or they don't, and blah, blah, blah. That's all you need to do.
That's all you need to do, and it would be that. But I don't think you should. I'm not sure I would want wish to be able to kill somebody they have no recourse. Maybe. There are some spells like that, but I'm not sure. Maybe, but that would be. You could have
There
the
shouldn't
spell.
be. Maybe there shouldn't be automatic kill your enemy spells.
Oh, there's a good question. That's a whole discussion. Save or suck spells. I'm kind of good with them, but that's just me.
Let's see here. T-shirted historian says, give the players exactly what they wish for. They're in a world where creatures that can also wish exist. There are gods and demons that will get very interested in players tossing wishes around. That's what I was saying was the balancer.
Yeah, you got to be careful because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. T-shirt is absolutely right.
The demon rolls up and casts wish, and you're dead.
Yep. Before you move on, Halcyon makes a good comment. If I can switch from T-shirt, he says you will have to be in person to cast your power word kill, and a wish you can be 200 miles away and not present. Maybe, sure.
I don't know about that.
No, I mean, sure. I mean, I guess theoretically, yeah.
Well, theoretically, so if you could cast wish in your safe castle and say, I want blah 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 dead.
I mean, could you say, I wish that
way exceeds the power of any spell.
Yes, and you would say, and like, I wish Asmodeus was dead. Nah, that wouldn't be a thing because he's a duke, the Lord of Hell.
Right. So what I'm imagining is you're in the heat of combat and you have an enemy you need to get rid of. You cast wish and you say, I want that, creature dead or gone or whatever. And there's a number of spells that could do that, but what if you don't have them prepared, but you have wish prepared?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's fine. I don't see any problem with that.
No.
I'm not sure what this is answering.
Mm-hmm.
T-shirted says, why not? Seems perfectly fine. If a player can do it, so can their opponents. Turn wish into a nuclear option. The nuclear option that it actually is.
Yeah.
To use it. So he's probably answering someone up here in the commentary who said that they didn't like that option. But, all this is your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
Some people are fine with whatever spells are in the game and they deal with it at the table.
Yeah. And Mage's Musing says real quick, Asmodeus would then indeed die, but soon be reborn and quite angry about it. Or maybe he would die and go back to Lemure status and quickly work his way up. And shame on you, whoever killed him.
Yep.
Shame on you. You'd be in deep doo-doo. I agree.
The level 2. So Mage's Musing says, let the level 2 character have the +5 Vorpal Sword. It will increase their survivability, but it won't make them invincible. No, there'll be a glass cannon.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Yep. Oh, they'd be a target too. Some high-level thief's like, you got a plus. Look at that dude carrying around that sweet sword, and
they certainly won't be able to hold on to it if someone,
No, some nefarious NPC sees that. They'll be like, "Hello, so you're 4th level and you got a Vorpal? I don't think you need that."
And then you have starred Patty's Parlor. I think each wizard should only be able to cast wish once.
That wouldn't be the end of the world.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think if you're only, as a wizard, only able to cast wish one time only, ever, then I would say that wish's effect should be more open-ended.
I would say I don't know what you would wish for that I wouldn't allow in that case.
Right, because if it's just I can duplicate whatever spell, then it's not worth just casting one and done. Yeah.
I wasn't terribly fond of the word lawyering that we did back in the day.
Yeah, it was not fun.
We covered that. I loved Ring of Wishes. When I gave wishes out, it was usually through a ring.
That I could understand being more funky, because you don't know where the wishes come from.
Okay. So, I have to help David Gwill here. He says, how would the NPC know your level? Okay. So you're right. They wouldn't know your second level. I don't know what he's
referring to.
When I said a second level character gets a Vorpal, how would he know? You're not wrong. Okay, sort of, you're right. But if a 9th level assassin sees your 2nd level party derping around, and I'm sorry, you would be derping around compared to him. He would read you like a book. He may not call you 2nd level, but he would know. I think you'd give him a reasonable chance to know that you guys are weak sauce. And if he
I
watched
can
you,
imagine in these in the game worlds,
yeah,
the game world that these games exist in, that,
yeah,
and in the real world, you hear things like this where someone can tell that how someone carries themselves.
you can size people up, dude.
Can
Sometimes,
size people up.
yeah. Now, I'm not saying I can, but David's got a good point. You could also say no, you can't, because sometimes you're surprised. Some little dude might be a BA ninja. He's not completely wrong there. But I just think if there's a vast level difference, especially a fighter, if you're a 15th level fighter and you see a second level fighter, at least if you watch him fight somebody, you would know his skills.
That's all it would take.
That's all it would take.
Yeah. Now, it could be somebody pretending to suck, but that's one thing. If you're not pretending, if you're watching somebody fight, you can say, "Well, that guy's no good."
Yeah. Our man asked an interesting question. How is a wish ring made? I would have to say divine beings, powerful entities.
Especially if you're taking the wish out of the hands of casters.
Yep.
Then, like who's it? You don't even, it's not even confined to a ring of wishes. A ring. It could be just like Aladdin. Does anybody know how Aladdin's lamp was made? Except that it was just some artifact some wizard was after and sent Aladdin to go get it.
I always thought it was kind of funny, though. It fits the mythology that Afrides and I think Jinny could, Jin. We always pronounced them Djinni, but I know it was probably just Jin.
Yeah, silent D, probably.
Silent D. That's what she said. And so, anyway, so what if I tickle myself. Anyway, so I always thought it was weird that they could cast wish for you. And they would be able to, but I guess I just wasn't always thinking about the legends of genies casting wishes and stuff.
It's probably a little bit too free. I mean, I guess they can't cast them for themselves. Is that a limitation that they have, or do they?
I don't know. I would think so. To T-shirts comment about that. What would a demon do if he could cast wish? Well, no. Let me rephrase that. What wouldn't he do?
Correct.
Unless it'd have to be like you can only cast wishes for people. I think that's how a lot of the
liches are often very high level.
Oh, dude,
have access to that. Yeah.
And you can't -3 to my strength. Don't matter.
I think probably the best way to resolve this issue is to alter or change the name of the spell, have a similar effect.
Mm-hmm.
Don't call it wish, call it something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's akin to altering reality or whatever. Impose will or something. And then have a list of things that it can do. And if you want, you can have an optional part in there where you can exceed the power but have a potential backlash, whatever that might be. Mm-hmm. Because wish, as we think wish of, that can do anything technically, probably should not be in the PC's hands. It's not a good idea.
I don't think so. And I think the DM I think he is within his rights to screw with you, but I would only, and by screw with you, I mean, if you're going to really wish for utter chaos upon the world, if I was the DM, I would try to interpret it the most safe way for my campaign as possible. I would, but that doesn't mean it doesn't mean I'd be able to, and I wouldn't work really hard these days to do it.
Right. Yeah. So this is a good point that David Gwill says here. A wish ring made by demons could grant the screw you over sort of wish. Yep. I would agree with that.
Yep. And Halcyon H mentioned before a similar thing in Palladium. He said there are jinns are evil, and if you defeat one, he will grant you a wish, but use your words against you. Yeah, that would make sense. An evil creature granting you a wish, they would love screwing you over.
And I think the legend of, say, Aladdin's lamp, the reason you get 3 wishes is because the genie is then released. So he gives you what you want, as long as you don't go over the top. And I think in the original telling of Aladdin, he did, and he paid for it in some sort of way.
Yeah, Mage's Musings, he's being funny here. Are you saying then that you wish it was called something else? It's a good one, dude.
Right. So
yeah.
I think Wish, you could just roll with it in an old game, first edition game, and if you want to haggle over it and you think that's fun, that's fine. If it's possible that we're kind of just wringing our hands over the awfulness that we experienced as young players,
right,
when there was an adversarial aspect to the spell. It didn't have to be that way.
No, it didn't.
It's just how it ended up.
But Gygax, the writers of D&D, they encouraged it a little.
They did. They did.
To be fair.
But D&D's always been a DIY sort of product.
For sure.
So just because Gary says screw over the players doesn't mean that that's what you have to do at your table. You may want to, and it might be fun. The adversarial approach is fun for some people.
Yeah,
it's not fun for me.
Yeah, Darth Thick says, yes, Genie can only grant wishes to others. That's why they have a monkey's paw effect. They're kind of pissy. I think it'd be great to have a magic item that had wishes that progressively got worse. First time you wish, I mean, no matter, even if you weren't trying to do it, but it's almost like a cursed wish ring. And you could infinite wishes, but as you wish it, it's more devious than before.
First one, not so bad. The next one, and then by the time you're to a handful of wishes,
your life is ruined.
Like, well, this is last resort.
Yep.
You wish you never even did the first one, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. David Gwill says, I always interpreted wizard spells as altering reality in some. Yeah, that's true. Magic in general could be altering reality. So, I mean, it does, doesn't it? There is no magic missiles floating around in the air that you grab and throw at people or shoot at people.
Correct.
You're altering the fact that this is even possible. You're creating fire out of nothing. That's exactly what spells do.
Sure. But within the construct, I think, of the game, in order to get your fireball, you have to do a particular thing. It's not just the wizard saying, I'm just going to do a fireball.
Yeah.
But you have to learn the spell and prepare it and have it ready to go. With Wish, it lets you just do whatever to a limit.
Oh, Bruce, I missed something cool for Bruce. He's calling me out. He had a suite of freak discussion. But you were telling me to do stuff to the Wi-Fi, dude. You know I don't do that.
David Gwill asked, did the Genie and Aladdin story have a limit? That might, I always remember the 3 wish thing, and that might be Disney's reinterpretation. So in the 1001 Arabian Nights, where I think the Aladdin story originally came from, it might have been different.
Bruce is going to dress up as an Ifrit sometimes when he DMs. I think you should dress up as an Ifrit whenever you get a chance to DM me. We need to play with Bruce. We haven't done that. We need to play with all these guys. I've said that before.
I agree.
But
we have an opportunity coming up. Come one, come all to a big Geek Con.
Yep. I think we're going to be meeting Bruce one day. I have a feeling you and I are going. I think North Texas Con may be in our future. We're going to have to coordinate with Bruce one day and meet him down there. So Joe doesn't think so, but I do. When we're rich and famous podcasters.
Yeah, that's common.
Well, yeah, we're going to make millions and millions of paper. That's not money.
All right. So
hold on. So he said, could be remembering a specific version of the story or something different. Looking online, not saying anything about unlimited wishes. I don't know. Beats me.
Yeah.
Outside my purview.
Yeah, I only really know the Disney version of Aladdin. So, and Disney, did his own thing, took creative license.
So I mean, overall, we both agree that the wish spell's kind of dumb. Getting wish items are fun. I just don't. As much as it helped simplify things in third, because you kind of knew what you could wish for and what you couldn't, I just would rather it not be a spell. It doesn't feel like it should be a spell. I mean, if you're going to have an alter reality spell, something that could alter reality for a short bit, I think under the illusion category is probably appropriate, but I think wishes and true changing of reality should be within the purview of gods and demons and devils.
Yeah, I get that.
I understand Mage's musing. He says, remember, in a narrative, the wishes serve a story of thematic purpose. They're not governed by game rules. RPG wishes need to have boundaries because it is still a game. Joe probably agrees with that. I don't.
But well, how can you disagree with that? It is a game.
I disagree with it because, when I say I disagree with it, I'm not saying he's wrong. I won't run it that. I don't care to run it that way, only because I like a little more narrative in my game than Joe does. So
yeah, but you're not going to let a wish do whatever.
I don't know. The more I think about it, I kind of would. I would let it do whatever and then let consequences happen.
Yeah, I don't think you would let it do whatever.
Okay.
Hey, I'm going to wish that I'm 50th level.
Okay, fair enough.
Or I'm now the ruler of the entire universe.
I might do that.
You're not going to do whatever. You're going to have maybe a lot bigger scope than currently is allowable, but
yeah.
Bruce
says, I came here for wish discussion, knowing that a freak grant them from a lawful evil standpoint. You get screwed. What's that called? I'm
editorial
in the details, or you can opt for the Efreet to serve you for 366 days. Okie dokie.
You know, that's maybe even a better. That's probably better.
I agree.
Serve you instead of trying to finagle some kind of wish.
Oh, sorry. David Will says this, and this is probably where I'm at more than that. I would restrict the power of the wish based on whatever is granting it. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. If it randomly occurs in the adventure or the caster is casting it, it's going to be hard to know that, though, from my point of view.
I don't think in that article I sent you from Dragon Magazine, Best of 5, this came out, but Darth Biek makes this point. My party got a ring of wishes, controlled a city, so we wished for the walls needed to protect it and the wealth needed to run the city, and later we found out these items came from other cities. That's a screw, but it's actually, if you take the viewpoint that wish magic will most efficiently and effectively use, or the laws of the universe will give you what you wish for in the most.
Looks like he sound cut out.
That may be the worst. Shoot. Am I back?
Someone's sound cut out. Yeah.
I'm back now.
You're back now. It lasted a lot longer than it had been. So whatever is making it stutter, it's a lot better at this point.
Wow. Joe.
Huh?
I haven't. Yeah, the internet's being squirrely here.
Yeah.
Mage's musing. I wish to be 50th level. DM then micro.
Yeah, micro divides the XP tiers so that 50th level is equal to what was previously level 2. Yeah, that means you cast a wish spell and nothing happens. Screw you, version. And then there's Arman said, is something granting wizard spells? And that's the thing. If your wizard learns the spell and casts it, is the wish granted, or is the effect created by the wizard casting a spell like any other spell?
If you're going to use it as a spell, I think you're going to have to say that the wizard is figuring out the secrets of the universe as far as how to use that spell, but it doesn't mean he understands it fully. So a spell can have side effects. It doesn't mean you're the master of the wish just because you just got it at 17th level.
Right, but he's not being granted the effects by some entity.
Yeah.
He's doing it on his own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why it should be limited.
Yes. Sure. And if you want to go with Mage's musing, you could say limited to game rules, and that's fine. I just know that if a god grants a wish, all bets are off. I mean,
right.
I may grant something.
I don't think he's
crazy.
I don't think he was meaning that it has to be conformed to specific game rules. What he's saying is that the limitations.
It's okay to define it. Right.
It's okay to define it. Even if it's loosely defined. So
I'm not even against what he said. I'm not like what he said was ridiculous. I'm just said, I think I'd be a lot more generous these days. Yeah, Bruce says what I would say. My current table has never seen a wish in the time I've been their referee.
Travis never saw one. Yeah, he cut out there again. Travis never saw one 1996, 98, and the others haven't seen one from 2009 to present day. Well, I mean, have they gotten over 5th level?
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on a second. I'm gonna mute.
You gonna restart?
Be right back. Yeah, I may do that
right.
too. Give me a second to restart.
Yeah, wish is something that a lot of people quibble about, and it's you do you at your table. Everybody's going to have a little different take on it, especially since it's kind of a wide open kind of spell anyway. But yeah. Joe, praying for St. Jordan, the IT demiurge, to come to Randy's router and deliver him. Yeah, that would be great. Kick that router right in the nards. Yes, we need to use a wish to get Randy's internet better. Yeah, Randy's unfortunately not at home. He is in a remote location, so he has to depend on someone else's internet, which I'm sure he just loves, not being in control of the internet there. So yeah, because I think that the best thing to do, like I said earlier, is just not have a wish spell. You have a spell that has maybe some, maybe has a similar framework, but don't make it out to be that the wizard is just asking for some weird thing to happen, and some entity out there saying, "Yeah, that sounds good," or "No, I think I'm going to take that wizard and twist him up." I don't really. It's very weird. Hail Mary. I guess there's actually some other spells that do something similar. If you have commune, then that's a cleric spell. There is at least one wizard spell, if I'm remembering correctly, that is not commune, but it's contact higher plane, where you're asking a question and then you are relying on the deity that you've contacted or powerful entity that you've contacted to be honest or not, or know what you're asking. But if the wish included some kind of verbiage like that, let's say the wish said, when you cast the wish spell, you contact a higher plane, make your desire known, and some random entity says yes or no to whatever degree they do. That would be one way of explaining why it's has so many variable effects and potentially aging or taking hit point damage or whatever, having to rest for 2 to 8 days, depending on what version you're talking about. I think that would be one way to at least semantically resolve how the wish occurs. But if you're just saying that the wizard has harnessed or has, through their deep understanding of magic and the universe, they're able to take the tiger by the tail and make it do what they want, but within certain parameters, and then if they go outside those parameters, they're taking a risk, then I think you don't call that wish, because that's not what's happening. Wish is like, hey, up there in the sky, I need something. That's wish. The other part of that, with the understanding of the universe, that's something else, and it should be called something else and explained in a different way and given given a framework to go with, much like 3rd edition or maybe even 5th edition, has it very well delineated. I still think that's fine to do. But having a spell that the wizard can just say, yeah, I want this strange thing to happen is probably not a good idea. Flady says, to be honest, I don't think we ever got involved with wish spells in our games. Well, we got really high level at one point because Randy just handed out levels when we were kids. And then there were times when the wish ring was given out, and it followed similar, hey, you have to word it correctly or else you're going to get screwed over. I think, honestly, we probably encountered more items that had a wish in it than wizards actually casting it. So it's open-endedness, and who knows who's granting it part that we've been kind of bouncing back and forth here is more applicable to that, I think, than what the wizard does. So, yeah. We like high-level play, so we kind of bootstrap our campaign a little bit every once in a while, and we get into the high levels. Well, Randy is still figuring out his internet situation. While he's doing that, I'm going to say do the things. Subscribe, like, share. Come on here when it's live. Comment, join in the fun. Our live comments are almost always friendly. We've had some issues in the past where people came in and wanted to cause trouble, but I think most of that all of that is gone. It's just people bouncing ideas off each other, even if they disagree. I think it's a pretty friendly chat room out there, or live comments, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, come on in here to the live show and interact. It would be great to have some new faces in here. It was a very welcoming environment. So if you're listening to the audio podcast, then follow us on that, whatever player you're using. Give some commentary, suggestions. You can thumbs up or down. Let us know what you don't like. We probably won't follow any suggestions, but we'll at least talk about it.
What are we talking about?
Randy's back. I'm doing the things.
Oh, yeah. Do the things, man. Sweet.
Yeah. Yes. If you're listening after the fact, yeah, just share us and join us once in a while on the live show if you get a chance. Be happy to talk to you, or at least comment back and forth. So what did you do on your end there, Randy?
We rebooted the Wi-Fi, my buddy did, and I think we'll see. We'll see how it works. Hopefully it'll be good. He does have a lot of things on his system, so it could be that. Martinson had mentioned that's a possibility. Deck of many things. That would be a good discussion point. I agree with Arn, man. That would be cool. All right. Shall we play in the mud a little while before we get out of here?
Sure. I added some stuff without telling you.
Ooh, do it. Bring it on.
Do we want to do the mud part first, or you want to do my part first?
Do your part since you've added. Make sure we get it in.
Okay, so we have a semi-ongoing segment called DnD Weirdness.
Yes.
And I picked out adventuring because adventuring is weird.
I don't disagree.
It can present some weird things in the game. Tell me what you think about this. It was kind of a last-minute
ad.
So, in D&D, adventuring itself can produce several odd things in your game world, and we have to understand the world that the players run around in is a game world. It's not a simulated medieval world that's
Right.
normal, and then the players run around in it. It's a game world, and you can lean into that, it being a game world,
Yes.
and make it a little more fantastic, and it might be fun for you. Or you might want to shy away from that and just say that it's basically medieval fantasy, and there's weird places here and there that, and then everybody else just thinks all this is superstition and rumor.
Right.
I prefer to step into the weirdness part because it makes it, I think, more interesting.
It does make it different. I think the concept of like, it's kind of weird. Like, we're a city that caters to adventurers, and I'm like, that sounds good, but what do adventurers really do? And adventurers can be a pain in the butt, dude.
They can.
I mean, seriously, pain in the butt.
There are three things that I came up with just off the top of my head about adventuring that makes it odd.
Yep.
Quests. So you roll into a town, and the bartender just happens to have some work for you to do.
Yep.
Right?
Well, you got to get the game going, though, baby.
Right. So the fact that the DM has to have something for you to do, whether it is randomly determined based on the player's actions, or the DM wants to tell a story, however you do this, the world kind of revolves around the PCs in a way.
Yes, 100%. It should if you're doing it right.
Right. So, but a lot of people don't have that opinion.
No.
The world should be what it is, and the PCs are just minor players.
I say this: your table better be catering to the PCs. Or by catering, I mean, as a DM, you need to be thinking about your PCs and what they're going to want to do. I'm not saying that, you know, the Death's Head Assassin Guild not going to do their nefarious deeds, and if the players ignore them, they're going to get worse. And they might find out their best friend, the bartender's dead, because he didn't pay them the fee they were supposed to pay that they expected because they're so cool. But I don't think it's like, I'm not a level appropriate mage's musing. What does he say?
Says, well, don't you look like a level appropriate team of brutes for the task I just happen to have? How about a job worth enough XP to get another level? So yeah, I mean,
that's goofy.
It does present some oddities. Why would anybody care about your PCs?
Yep.
Because they rolled into town. I mean, it's possible, hey, this insert monster or situation that's plaguing the town. Your PCs roll in. It's only in a world, I think, where it's that adventurers are known to exist, would they even think about bringing that problem to you? And
they're outside the law. They're willing to leave the town and do things. They'll rescue people. They'll grab things, sometimes nefarious deeds. But the thing is, I think, if as a DM, if you don't, I mean, I can't imagine you say, well, I think this is cool. Here's what's happening in this region. I'm plopping you in. And they'll be like, you know, you do know that the least powerful minion of the Lich Lord is a vampire. That's what, I know. He's super powerful. We're second level, dude.
Right.
You know, and
so
he's got
David Will says here, it's a game, so the players need stuff to do. Correct. Otherwise, what's the point of playing? Correct. But within the world itself, a lot of times you have to shoehorn the players into the situation that you want them to be in with the things that you have ready for them to do. You have to kind of like, you know, get them on the tracks, or you do the random thing. Yeah. You know, random monsters or however, because there's a whole generate the adventure based on the character's actions kind of style of play.
Right.
So, but either way, from the point of view, let's say from the point of view of just kind of going a mile high and looking at what that presents as a world.
Right.
Your players come into town and there just happens to be something for them to do.
Or they just they come into town and everybody knows they'll do stuff. We're going to hire these noobs. Right.
Yeah. And they're outsiders. Why should you trust them? They probably look weird. They're dressed in a motley assortment of things. So there's all kinds of reasons to not even trust these folks because you don't know them.
Well, and
but
you know,
because they're adventurers, then all bets are off.
Here's one. And David Gwill follows this up with, that said, the world keeps going. That's what I think. I think, look, if I offer, Joe knows this, if I offer up to the party some adventure in the game, and I won't like just make them do it, but if your guys are like, nope, if it's a campaign, I'll keep playing or I'll wing it for the whole session. But here's the deal. If I say, you know what, orcs are gathering in the steppes. You need to get out there and please, the captain of the guard goes, we need some scouts. Would you please do this and bring us back a few orc heads and we'll pay you some money. He says, I ain't down with that. And then later on, hey, characters second level, third level. Hey, the orcs have, killed some people. Some of the farmers have been attacked. We're pretty sure they're a scouting party at second level. Would you go check it out? No, we ain't down with that. You keep ignoring a problem, it may come kick you in the teeth.
It might, especially if the idea is the PCs are the only ones on the whole planet that could possibly do that.
Yep.
Right. If the PCs are the only adventurers, sure. But why is it the case that the problem that the bartender has to be done by the group, by your group, right? So
you don't have to.
Especially if the idea of your game world is that the PCs are not the only adventurers.
Correct.
If somehow the PCs are the only adventurers, which is odd itself. That's one thing, but then when your world is full of adventurers or leveled characters that do things, the same things that the PCs do, why is it necessary for the PCs to do that thing when anybody could do it that happens to walk into town? I mean, you happen to be the ones there at the time, so I get that part. But I'm just saying that it presents a particular thing in the world which is a little odd, and it'll be a little more. There'll be a little bit more reason to think it's odd after I get to probably the third point.
Yeah.
So the second point is a gear, PC gear economy.
Mm-hmm.
You can ignore it, and most of us have done one way or another throughout the years, whether you ignore it or you embrace it or you abstract it. At some point, the PCs are going to find more gear than they can use or want, and they're going to want to get rid of it.
Right.
And if you multiply that over multiple adventuring parties or people, there's going to be some sort of economy, whether it's underground or obvious, or like you said earlier, this town is kind of dedicated to adventurers. So maybe they have crafters who make things especially for the adventurers to do and to buy. And, the player's handbooks are full of all kinds of things in there that's supposed to be in town for you to buy for your adventures.
Mm-hmm.
So, so you could look at it as survival gear, but there's a lot of stuff that's specially made just for the purpose of adventuring or soldiering. I guess you could say some of it's for that too. But at some point, depending on how long your campaign world has existed, there's been many adventurers before your characters show up on the stage, and there will be many afterwards. There's going to be leftover gear. Where does it end up? Does it just disappear? You can make all kinds of weird rules to avoid the whole gear economy notion. But the idea that there's these magic items and other things that the PCs use and then don't need anymore, how you handle that is going to make your world more or less a little odd.
Yes.
Whether you make a gear economy or you ignore it and it just poofs away somewhere, or maybe it occupies space on your character sheet. And then you're like, hey, I've got 5 magic items that I don't use or need anymore. Can I sell them? And DM says, nope, that's weird. Why can't
that
you?
Is weird. Yeah. You could sell them.
Or trade.
Yeah, but if you follow the book itself, if you're following a D&D book, it doesn't coincide that average people, even merchants, have the money to buy magic items. Not in 3rd edition.
They're very expensive.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. And 2nd edition, for sure not. But I mean, yeah, you can do it. I think you could have a bit in certain places. You could have a trade, but if you're in a middle of nowhere town that doesn't have a lot of adventurers coming to it and no good trade craftsmen, they can't buy a sword +3 from you. It's crazy. I ain't got no money to buy a sword +3. That's worth the whole village.
Correct. So you're not talking to common people.
No.
You're talking to merchants, rich merchants,
other adventurers,
nobility, other adventurers.
Yeah, you got to, and that requires a little effort on the player's part. It's not just going to town to sell crap. Now, in a big city, you might find it. Maybe you're running through the market. You might see a couple adventuring parties hanging around. Hey, you guys use a magic sword? We need to get rid of one. Sure. What does it do? Can our wizard look at it? I have to cast a spell on it. Sounds good. How much you want for that? $3,000? $10,000? Yeah, we got that.
So, but it would graduate from that after a time to, we don't want to haggle over this crap. How about there be a merchant that can handle this for us?
Yeah, but I think that'd be a rare merchant. It's just hard for me to.
I don't. Not after. Not in time. In time. All that stuff
maybe
would be part of the whole situation.
Maybe it's possible. I don't know.
Now, it would be an exclusive merchant. You might have a merchant that has all kinds of other stuff, and then, hey, I've got this other stuff back here.
Yep.
And it's not going to be for the average person in town or city. It's going to be for adventurers.
Imagine a powerful wizard merchant who teleports his shop all around the realm.
Sure.
And that's what he does. He buys gear and sells gear. That'd be kind of cool.
So it's just the whole idea. I mean, all gear could be leveling gear. It could, but I guess you could do that way.
I don't know. I get that it's gamey, but I don't care for it. I still don't care for it. Buying, selling lots of magic items. I just don't care for it.
Well, it doesn't have to be lots. It could be some.
Yeah. And that too. If you don't give many, like me, I don't give lots of magic away. There wouldn't be that much in my world. It wouldn't be like another place.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I think it's cool it'd be neat. I mean, I know Joe would think it's cool if his 14th level or his 10th level party met like a 20th level wizard who's all about selling and buying magic items, and they could reasonably rely on him to be roughly near them 3 or 4 times a year. That'd be cool.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So it would depend on what level of magic item you have in your game. So Randy has almost none, so there wouldn't be an economy no matter what.
No,
but in your average D&D game, there's going to be lots of magic items.
Yeah, if you had a magic sword, most adventuring parties would kill you in my campaign for it because they wouldn't have one, and they'd be 20th level.
Right. But that's not typical.
No.
Your typical D&D game, there's lots of magic items.
Lots of magic items. I've been trying to figure that out in my own head, but it's tough.
Because so you do have to, as a DM, if you don't want a lot of magic items, you can just not have them.
A lot of what
then you just adjust fire as far as what you have for the characters. What kind of monsters and challenges you have the players go through.
I've been thinking a lot about that, magic items in the game, and there's a part of me that wants to become more generous and follow the suggested, what seems to be the general purpose idea or the general rule of thumb for magic items in the D&D world. But I do get weary of, I don't like the idea of, I got 9 magic items I don't need now. I don't like them. It's weird to be in an economy, but I get it.
It all depends on where your mind is at with that. A number of people in our hobby are in the Middle Earth mindset where magic items are super rare.
Right.
But also magic items are in that kind of campaign are also super powerful relative to the campaign.
Yes.
But if you just do your regular magic items and then say, well, they're super rare. Well, it's just a +1 sword. Why is that super rare? It doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, and you could take, I see what you're meaning. Like if you follow the game rules and magic, and you follow by the suggestions and treasure, and you end up giving quite a few magic items by 7th, 8th level, let's say, quite a few. Everybody has 5 or 6 magic items, plus potions and scrolls. Then maybe an economy might be the way to go.
Yeah, and again, your mileage may vary, and you might just ignore. Your best bet is to just ignore the magic item store and not make a whole bunch of rules about it.
What would you think of this?
It's just a lot of work.
Mage's Musing had an interesting comment. In his 1E game, he says, I allow the sale of magic items immediately after an adventure during downtime. The months that pass assume they've spent the time to find a buyer. There are no shop. It's a process.
That's cool too.
Yeah, and you know what? The advantage of that, Mage, I think that's a great idea, because then you won't have the problem of my character went from 1st to 20th level in 3rd edition, and I'm only 19. It's so weird. I started a few things.
Okay, what else
a few. Back up there, a couple suggestions for us. David Gwill says there's an idea for a Biggest Geekus, starting a campaign. We've done something like that, but it's been a long time.
We've talked about campaigns.
And we probably should do it again, though. It's been a while.
Sure.
Let's see here. What about this? Darthic. You've thought about running a game like the old D&D cartoon where the PCs are aware that they're in a game and have to find a way out. Let them just know what they know. It would be interesting. It would be. That could be kind of fun.
Sure.
Or how about this? They're the only adventurers in the world, and they know it.
Right.
Brave adventurers. I've never seen such as you. That'd be kind of cool. Arnman says, another topic idea. What are different ways to have the group working for someone? Fighters of a religious order, work for a liege lord, champions of a warlord. That could be in the campaign, how to start it out. I do think starting in a tavern is fine, but I like to add a little spice, personally.
Well, I think what was that? Can you put that up again? The one you just had?
Arnman's?
Yeah.
Says, yeah. Another
different ways to have a group working for someone. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Well, they're going to range from being commoners all the way up to kings. So
yeah,
they all have different level of quest for you.
Sure. And then later on, let's see, David Will says, I justify much of the adventuring gear as being present because it's really dangerous world with all sorts of monsters. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That's okay.
I'm not necessarily talking about justifying the existence of it per se. I'm just saying the existence of it presents some oddities within the world.
Correct. That's the premise, that you have that. It seems like I think the magic item mart, while I don't like it, is not illogical in the way the 3.x system hands out magic items and the way they have a system of value. But
right. And it's abstracted so that it's not like you're able to exchange. Right? As soon as you have money and magic items, when you go to a settlement, you're just able to exchange those things it's basically on a losing proposition, really, by the game rules. Magic item, when you sell it, it's half of its value. So you're always losing value when you're just exchanging like that. So that might be a way to keep it from being ridiculous. You just have some fraction of the total value that you actually get in exchange instead of being full value. That way it might control the ridiculousness of it.
True.
So I guess my last point is you have your profession is you're an adventurer, right? And the what's the word? I can't remember the word. Anyway, we're murder hobos according to some folks.
Sure.
You go out and kill monsters. You don't really have a place to live.
Right.
Are you doing it? Are your characters doing it because it's an adrenaline rush or a death wish, or you see yourself as heroes, or just explorers? And where do you guys sleep in between adventures? Where do you eat? Do you eat, or do you just pay? Is that abstracted away and you just pay an upkeep cost?
Well, you can do both. It's been done. I mean, I've seen games. I've done it. We played upkeep cost in Pathfinder in 3rd edition.
Right.
We did that a little bit. It's kind of annoying and dumb, but
so
it's only dumb and I didn't care for it.
Right. So you've got the fact that this is your job is to be an adventurer.
Mm-hmm.
Does your DM for your party provide you with enough treasure for your characters to live?
Oh, true.
Or are you stingy like this fellow over here, where you may not make enough money through adventuring and getting treasure to actually eat?
I'm sorry. Say that again, Joe. I apologize. I don't give
No
enough
problem.
money for characters to eat. That's true.
Or just to exist. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that's kind of a grimdark thing where you're barely making it. You're emaciated. All you have is your underwear and your fingernails as weapons. And
I kind of like trying to make money to just live at the beginning of first level, but after the first big adventure, even at first level, if you're still first level, I like the fact that you get enough money. You're like, I'm not really worried about food all that much. Right. Yeah.
So it's the one job where that's the case in the game world.
Yes.
The adventurer's job, after you have your first big adventure, you are, apart from maybe the nobility, you're the richest folks around.
And before long, you're richer than the nobility.
Right. So how does that affect the game world? Because you have nobility. If you have nobility in your game world, and you have all these folks that don't comply with the status quo. Yeah. They're not, I mean, they may be commoners, but they're more rich generally than anybody.
But what if the nobility
powerful?
What if the nobility
politically?
What if a lot of the noble families got that way due to their ancestors being adventurers, and so a lot of them actually, would, retire as adventurers, have castles, and maybe as an adventurer, it's common for powerful adventurers to purchase entry level into the nobility. That might be a natural progression for them.
It
might be, but it also, they're players like, this guy over here, he don't want to stop playing until the game's been done. So he's a 74-year-old 20th level wizard. He's like, where's the demon lord? Let's get after him. Shut him down. And that's cool.
Right.
It's okay too.
Right. So with that player who's bought their noble title, essentially, through adventuring and whatnot, do they have to stop playing and do their noble ability thing?
If you enjoy intrigue and politics, probably not. But if he needs to keep fighting, he's got to be there some. He's going to be required to do certain things. Mage's Musing says nobility certainly don't like these upstarts with more resources in them. Yeah, I think you could find yourself on the wrong side of it real quick. I'm the king. Yeah, you're the king. How much gold you got, king? I got 50,000 gold pieces in my vault. That's sweet. I got 300,000 in my demi plane.
Right. we just trashed this dragon over here.
Yeah.
And yeah, we are all now in the whole party. Each one of us is more rich than you are.
Correct.
As king.
Yeah.
Right. So that could destabilize if you, in a normal economy, you bring a truckload of money into it, it's going to devalue the value of everything. It's going to devalue the currency. And everything. There's going to be inflation. If you want to get that detailed, I think that's probably a mistake. You should probably just ignore it, or you make it an event that happens, and then you have to resolve it in some sort of way. But I think it's I think that's a weird way to do things.
I'm going to challenge Mage's Musings here. Comment. He says, only on the other side of it, you bought your title. My, such cheaply bought social elevation, but you still come from peasant stock, and I won't let you forget it. My 20th level fighter says, did you just insult me?
Mm-hmm.
Draw your sword. And he goes, I'll bring my champion. Okay, I'll kill him, but you will shut your pie hole. But he's right. He's right. You would get that stuff. Yeah.
Well, then you would probably at some point have some established rules, like
yes.
if to keep the peace.
Correct.
Insulting nobles is probably a no-no.
Insulting a powerful adventurer noble, even if he's low ranking, that could be a big no-no.
Right.
I can tell you right now.
It would be. It'd be a bad idea.
Don't get smart aleck with Joe's 15th level wizard.
No, I don't take no lip from no NPC.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, So the adventurer is going to be able to stabby that, effete noble and not worry about if the king's upset because I'm 20th level and you can't hurt me.
Yeah. I wonder
or some other dynamics that's like that.
I've only had a couple of situations where I've really had players that actually wanted to build keeps. We used to talk about it, but you guys never really wanted to do it very much.
No, because we would say, "Hey, Randy, how much does it cost to make a castle? You don't have enough money."
Yeah, I did that a lot too.
You don't. How much money you have? I have 10 million gold pieces. That's not enough for a castle. Sorry.
I fully agree. Mage's Musing says that's the beauty of it, though. This creates conflicts and situations. Yeah, it does. Facts.
Right. So I think the closest you can come to in like the real world is a post plague merchant class, because a lot of the nobility were killed during the plague, and then the merchants and workers were able to, take back some of that power, and they were able to obtain some wealth, and it just upset the whole balance of things at the time. It would be similar in this. But if you don't get into that aspect of the game with the nobility and the whole structure and the economy and everything, you still have folks that run around troubleshooting everywhere. And I've had some people call adventurers troubleshooters. I think you did that one time.
Yep.
And just having that job, unless you make it so that your players earn enough on their escapades to live, it absolutely doesn't make any sense that there would be adventurers at all.
Yeah.
I mean, from the point of view of heroism, I go out and slay the dragon and come back. Even that, iconically, you have a reward, which is the treasure of the dragon.
Yep.
So that has to be part of the deal.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with Dark. Joe's talking back in the day, but he says if you don't give the players gold needed to build a keep, you can't be mad they didn't build one. Yeah, I can't say I was mad. Joe would probably agree that the reason I said you didn't have enough is because I didn't want to deal with it.
Right. So you weren't upset.
No, I probably encourage the idea of you're always an adventurer. You adventure until you die on an adventure. You don't adventure until you retire at 10th level. Retirement's dumb. Yeah. That's what we thought. I'm not saying it is now. That's what we thought.
Oh, yes, it is. But not on your side.
Oh, you think it's dumb? Okay.
That's the way I am. I make this character, and they adventure till they die at 50th level.
Right.
Why can't we have adventures all the way up to there, Randy?
Fighting a great demon god. Yeah,
might as
exactly.
Well.
Yeah, that's.
Now, if we're talking low level, like between 1st and 5th, 6th, 7th, a lot of this isn't a big deal. You're not going to have a lot of magic items. Your PC's activities aren't going to affect anything out of their local area very much at all, and they're mainly going to go into the bartender's basement and kill rats.
Yeah,
go out and collect ingredients and stuff like that. So their consequences of their actions are going to be small.
Adventurers wonkifying economics is weirdness in and of itself. It's hard not to, but you can ignore it and the game goes along fine. Just play, don't let it be a thing. So all right. Well, it's about 9:24. I don't think I want to talk about Mudsword tonight.
Okay.
Because I want to get a little more time in it. That was something I threw in. I liked your topic better. Do you have more on the adventurer weirdness, or were we feeling? I wasn't sure if we were getting close to the end or not.
No, I had 3 points I wanted to bring up, and
cool.
I probably could have had more if I gave myself more time to think about it.
Right.
And I might do that. We might have a part 2.
Yeah.
Of how having adventurers per se makes a game world odd beyond what would never necessarily be there if the adventurers didn't exist.
Yeah.
As a job.
Right. What do you think about shall we transition into some little bit of random geekitude? Anything on the big geek emporium?
Well, the only thing we really have on the emporium side, I mean, as far as random geekitude, is that we've reached our 20 people for Big Geek Con.
Yeah, baby.
My devs say that they've got some things in the offing for the site.
Okay.
I know that some pages have had hiccups, and there were some hurt feelings out there, and sorry about that. We're still on the, it's a developing technical thing. So if there's some issues, it's almost always technical, and they will all be resolved in time.
Yeah, so I should be back next week. I've not succeeded on finishing my adventure, getting that edited, but I'm going to. And I'm going to start thinking hard about my adventures for Big Geek Con, which is September 22nd, 23rd. Check that out at the 4 Points Hotel in Saginaw. Be sure you go to Tabletop Events, as Joe said. We got the 20 people. It's happening. Next episode, we're planning to give away a couple of passes to that con. It is our 150th episode, so we need to think about what kind of topic. Probably just another topic. I don't know if we're going to do anything super special at 150. Anything else, Joe, or should we start thinking about scooting out of here?
I don't have anything else.
All
except to say thank you to all the wonderful people out there in the chat.
Oh, yeah. Tonight was great. You guys helped carry the load. We didn't get much in Rumble, but it's understood, man. It is what it is.
I think we did. We just ignored it again.
Oh, I've been checking it. I haven't seen much since House.
There's been a lot of cross-posting.
Oh, okay.
Some people had posted the same thing on both sides, which is still kind of fine. I really appreciate posting wherever you post at.
Yeah, good.
Oh, no, you know what? I was looking at YouTube's chat and thinking it was Rumble's chat.
Yeah, Rumble's only got a couple of what's up, how's it going? But it was good to see all the chatters. It was much fun tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and commenting. If you'd like to support our show, please like, subscribe, and share us where you're listening or viewing the show. We're mostly on all the socials, videos, and podcast places. If you want to give us a little cash, you can check us out at PayPal, Streamlabs, Ko-Fi, and Patreon. The links will be in the show notes. Of course, our website is bigasgeekaspodcast.com. And you can email us at thegeeks@bigasgeekaspodcast.com. Big Geek Emporium, of course, at biggeekemporium.com, where you can get all your cool indie game stuff, and all the groovy people are hanging out there and selling good games. Big Geek Con, looks like Martinson yells he's running X-Crawl. Pathfinder Edition, okay. I'm not sure what I'm going to run yet. I'd be really interested if people on the show, those that are going, would like me to run a particular thing. I would do old school. I'm going to run a kids game. I'm not sure what that's going to entail. I'm leaning toward a 13th age kids game, but it may be just old school D&D. So what are you going to do, Joe? You going to run something for everybody?
Probably not.
Joe's going to be a player, so you get to play with Joe, see how much he loves being a wizard.
If I do run something,
yeah. Dude, it can be board games too. You know, Patrick, if you want to run board games, he's a board game master. We'd love to have him there, but I'm not sure he can be there for both days. So, and
I like to think I'll have something ready, but it's more than likely not.
I should be back in my home.
But I'll be happy to play in everybody's games and get to know you all from that.
That's what I can't wait to see Flady and Darth, and I don't know who else is coming, but Iron Man, hopefully he's coming. Some of his boys. I think Ironcaster and some of his crew is coming. So it'll be great to see them all and run some games. I know we got a lot of Palladium guys. I know Iron Man loves old school D&D. I think he's a bit of a war gamer too. And I think Flady's brother might run some war games. So it'll be fun. Oh, I think that's about all I got, man. It was good to get on here. Even I'm sorry about all the issues with the internet. I don't know what the deal is, but that seems to be my modus operandi, screwy internet. So
seems fine now that we're ending.
Yeah, well, I think he got it restarted, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, you ready to scoot, bro?
Yes, sir.
This is Randy.
And this is Joe.
And remember, if you can't be big like us, then be geeks like us.